If you turn on the mainstream financial television networks right now, you will see Wall Street analysts practically throwing a parade. They are pointing to the breaking news ticker, celebrating the newly announced ceasefire between the United States and Iran, and telling everyday retail investors that the geopolitical nightmare is finally over. They are telling you that the global energy shock has been averted, inflation is going to magically disappear, and it is completely safe to put your life savings back into the traditional stock market. I am here to warn you right now. You are being mathematically and psychologically manipulated. What you are watching is not the dawn of a new era of global peace. You are watching the ultimate financial trap being set by the Eastern economic powers. Hello everyone, I am John Agg, and welcome back to the Wealth Reactor. Today, we are tearing down the facade of the mainstream media narrative. We are going to expose exactly what China is doing in the shadows while the United States is distracted by the Middle East, why the proxy war in Eastern Europe is suddenly collapsing, and why this temporary drop in the paper price of precious metals is the single greatest wealth-building opportunity of the decade. Let us start by dissecting the actual headlines. Washington and Tehran have tentatively agreed to a temporary ceasefire. In response, the White House has launched what they are calling Project Freedom, a desperate naval initiative designed to escort trapped commercial shipping vessels out of the heavily blockaded Strait of Hormuz. Because the threat of immediate kinetic missile strikes have been paused, the high-frequency trading algorithms on Wall Street have reacted exactly how they are programmed to react. They instantly sold off safe haven assets. We watched the price of crude oil take a slight breather, and we watched the paper prices of gold and silver experience a sharp, artificial drop. When the average retail investor sees gold dropping on a day when peace is announced, they panic. They assume the bull run is over. But that is because they do not understand how global empires actually operate, and they do not understand the silent financial war that is currently destroying the purchasing power of the United States dollar. To understand the absolute gravity of this moment, we have to look to the East. Throughout this entire blockade in the Persian Gulf, the Western media constantly asked one question: why is China not intervening? China relies heavily on Middle Eastern oil. Why did Beijing not send their massive naval fleet to challenge the blockade and protect their energy supply? The answer is terrifyingly simple, and it is the key to the entire global macroeconomic shift. China does not need to fire a single kinetic missile to defeat the Western financial system. They are defeating the United States through sheer mathematics, patience, and the deliberate destruction of the petrodollar. While the United States government burns through billions of dollars deploying aircraft carriers, depleting the strategic petroleum reserves, and begging for a temporary diplomatic pause, Beijing has been quietly executing a masterclass in global de-dollarization. China actively wanted this ceasefire not because they want the American empire to survive, but because they need a brief window of stability to finalize the new Eastern energy trading bloc. For the last 50 years, the entire strength of the United States economy has rested on one single foundation, the Petrodollar agreement. The rule was simple. If any nation on Earth wanted to buy crude oil, they had to exchange their local currency into United States dollars first. This created an artificial, permanent global demand for the dollar, allowing the Federal Reserve to print trillions of dollars out of thin air without immediately triggering hyperinflation at home. We simply exported our inflation to the rest of the world. But China and the BRICS nations have officially broken that system. Behind the smokescreen of this Iran ceasefire, China is actively finalizing massive multi-billion-dollar energy contracts with Middle Eastern producers, and they are completely bypassing the SWIFT banking network. They are settling these massive trades using their own currency, the yuan, and they are backing those trades with physical, tangible gold. The global south is watching the United States weaponize its banking system, and they are rapidly accelerating their exit. The artificial demand for the dollar is evaporating, and all of those trillions of printed fiat dollars are about to come flooding back to American shores. The consequences of this massive American overextension are already causing global dominoes to violently fall. Just look at what is happening in Eastern Europe. As the United States pivots its entire financial and military focus to containing the crisis in the Middle East, their proxy allies are being completely abandoned. Over the last 24 hours, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a series of stark, panicked warnings to the international community. He is explicitly stating that the United States is now entirely consumed by the Iran conflict, and that his nation is facing immediate, catastrophic financial and military starvation. This is the exact historical blueprint of a dying fiat empire. Throughout human history, from the Romans to the British, whenever an empire enters its final stages of collapse, it always makes the exact same fatal mistake. It attempts to fund multiple, endless global conflicts using a currency backed by absolutely nothing. The United States simply does not have the capital, the industrial manufacturing base, or the mathematical bandwidth to fight a financial war in Eastern Europe, a kinetic naval war in the Middle East, and an economic war with China at the exact same time. The fiat money printer has reached its absolute physical breaking point. So what does this massive geopolitical realignment mean for the money sitting in your bank account right now? And more importantly, what does it mean for the future of physical gold and silver? You must train yourself to understand the fundamental difference between a temporary paper price manipulation and a permanent, long-term structural reality. When a ceasefire is announced, the Wall Street algorithms read the word peace, and they immediately execute massive billion-dollar short positions on the COMEX futures exchange. They dump thousands of digital, unbacked paper contracts onto the market to artificially drive the price of gold and silver down. Their goal is to trigger stop-loss orders and shake the weak, emotional retail investors completely out of the market. But physical reality paints a dramatically different picture. The underlying macroeconomic fires that drove gold past $4,500 have not been extinguished by a one-page diplomatic memo. The United States government is still adding $1 trillion to the national debt every 100 days. The global supply chain remains entirely fractured. Consumer inflation is permanently sticky, and the trust in the United States Treasury bond as the ultimate global safe haven has been completely shattered. Do you want to know what the smartest money in the world is doing while retail investors are panicking over this paper price drop? The central banks of China, Russia, India, and Poland are aggressively stepping into the market and buying massive tonnage of physical gold at a steep discount. They know that this ceasefire is nothing more than a temporary band-aid on a gaping arterial wound. They are using the illusion of peace to secure their financial lifeboats before the fiat ship completely sinks. And for physical silver, the mathematical reality is even more explosive. Silver is not just a monetary hedge against central bank corruption. It is a totally irreplaceable, highly strategic industrial and military metal. Even if a permanent peace treaty is somehow signed in the Middle East tomorrow morning, the global superpower competition has permanently shifted. The United States and Europe have realized that they can no longer rely on foreign supply chains. They are being forced into a massive multi-trillion-dollar rebuilding of their domestic defense manufacturing and their independent energy grids. The millions of new solar panels, the advanced circuitry inside domestic cruise missiles, and the vast artificial intelligence data centers required to compete with China all require tens of thousands of tons of highly conductive physical silver. We are currently staring down the barrel of a catastrophic, multi-year structural supply deficit in the global silver mining sector. Above-ground stockpiles are being violently drained. You cannot print physical silver out of thin air to satisfy this massive incoming industrial demand. The paper price is a complete illusion designed to hide the physical shortage. For the smart, dedicated stackers of the Wealth Reactor community, this temporary geopolitical pause is not a signal to sell. It is an absolute gift. It is a brief, incredibly rare window of opportunity to exchange your rapidly devaluing fiat currency for hard, tangible assets before the next inevitable geopolitical crisis snaps the rubber band completely. Do not let the Wall Street algorithms and the mainstream media anchors scare you out of your position. They want you holding digital dollars when the system resets. You must step outside the matrix, become your own central bank, and hold assets that carry absolutely zero counterparty risk. If you want to survive the greatest wealth transfer in recorded human history, you have to stop reacting to the daily headlines and start tracking the physical data. Hit that subscribe button right now to join a massive global alliance of sovereign individuals who see completely through the fiat illusion. Smash the like button to help us defeat the algorithmic suppression, ring the bell icon so you never miss an urgent market update, and let me know in the comments below exactly how many ounces of silver you are adding to your stack during this ceasefire dip. I'm John Ogg. Keep your wealth reacting and stay ahead of the curve.